Hi, I'm James and I do things, and in this video I want to talk about credit card debt. Yay. The reason I'm making this video is because I've got a big credit card bill coming up and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to pay for it. So at first I panicked and then I got a plan together, and that's why I made this video. So I think other people must be going through this and must go through this all the time, so I thought it might come in useful. If not for other people, then maybe for me next month. Who knows? So I'm not a financial advisor, as you can tell, because I'm in debt. So technically you shouldn't pay any attention to me, but if you're watching this video, maybe you're going through the same thing as me, so maybe you'll find this useful. Okay, before you do anything about your credit card debt, the first thing to do is find out information about your credit card, if you don't already know it. So the important things are the statement date, the payment date, and then the minimum payment you need to make this month, which might not necessarily be as much as you think, and also the actual balance for the statement balance, not the total balance. The statement date's important because what you might find is that if you've been spending all month, there'll be a cut off and they say, right, that is January and this is how much you owe for January. So you could have like £1,000 on your credit card, but actually you only owe 500 for January because you spent some of it after that date. You still need to worry about that next month, but it could be important because you could be really worried about your balance and actually you don't have as much to pay as you think this month. So yeah, you need to check those numbers and find out how long you've got left to pay, and obviously the first priority is making that minimum payment. Okay, so I've been and found out all the information about my credit cards, and I actually have debt on 3 credit cards this month. The bulk of it is on one credit card, which has got the highest interest rate, sadly. All 3 credit cards have the statement date and the payment dates around the same time. So the statement date's at the start of the month, which is now-ish, and then the payment dates will be in about 3 weeks' time. So it would be relatively easy for me to clear the debt off 2 of the credit cards because they've got about 250, 300 each. But the problem with that is that the interest that I will pay on the bigger credit card is nearly £100 if I don't clear it all this month, whereas the other 2, the interest will be like £10–15. So my plan is probably going to be, if I can't pay everything, is to pay the minimum payment for those 2, possibly a bit more, but try and wipe the other one. So I've already cleared about 500 off the big one, but there's still 1100 to pay. So that's my target really. So my personal thing is obviously minimum payment, which will be about £125, and if I can, clear the full 1100. So I'll get into that next. Okay, now in terms of how are we going to clear the balances on the cards. So there's a few options here. Depending on your circumstances, these might be available to you or they might be completely unavailable to you. So, but I'll go through them anyway, and some of them might apply to you. Maybe you won't have thought of them. So the first one is a balance transfer to another credit card. So this is an excellent way of doing it in some circumstances. It can be the cheapest way because you essentially transfer your balance to another card and you usually get a 0% interest for, say, like a year. You usually pay like 4%, it's like a 4% charge or something, or 3% charge. So it's not free, but 4% and then 0% for a year is much cheaper than paying the proper interest that you would pay if you didn't move it. So for me, that's not actually an option because the card with the bulk of my balance on it is an American Express card, and from bitter experience, I know that no other card seems to want their money or want their debt. They just won't do it. I don't know if it's because Amex charge more because of the interaction fees. I know lots of shops won't use them, but I've had absolutely zero luck transferring a balance from there, so that's not an option for me. Okay, option 2 is a little bit more extreme, and it's not one I'd recommend. What you can do is, again, you get another credit card and you use that credit card to withdraw cash, and you take cash advances, and then you use that cash, you have to put it in your bank and then pay your credit card off with it. I wouldn't advise doing that, and I don't intend to do that. There's several reasons why not. One is that taking cash out your credit cards it's expensive. You get, usually, I think all my cards, there's a minimum 5%, and there's also a limit to how much you can take in a single day, because generally they assume that if you're doing that, you're doing it wrong. Either you're a drug addict, or you've got a gambling problem, or something. It's frowned upon, and I know that mortgage people, and if you get any kind of manual check on your finances, like for a mortgage, or if you get a loan, like every time if I get a loan from the bank, I have to spend about an hour on the phone, and they go through every transaction. Oh, what did you spend this on? So if you've got transactions like that, it's going to cause you problems further down the line, so it's definitely frowned upon. So I'd be tempted not to do that for that reason alone. The 5% is, again, it's cheaper than paying the interest normally, but you're only shifting that problem by a month, because then you still got to pay it off the other card. Whereas at least with a balance transfer, you can potentially spread whatever payment it was over a year or 9 months, whatever the card option is. So it's it's not quite the nuclear option, but it's not an ideal option. So selling your own stuff is, I would say, it's the best option. In my case, it's definitely the best option, because the reason I've got credit card debt this month is because I bought things to sell, which I probably shouldn't have done. It were the kind of impulsive buys, I suppose. It was kind of, oh, that's a great deal. I could do that. I could flip it and blah blah blah, and I haven't done. It's not really worked out the way I thought it would, and part of the problem is that those things, I'm going to take a loss on those things. Not a massive loss, but it's not going to pay for everything. So I'm going to sell the things I bought, but then there's still going to be some missing, so I need to sell some of my own stuff. Luckily, if you see behind me, I'm really into collectibles, various types. I've got lots of stuff that has some value. It is going to take some selling, and not all of it's kind of big value stuff. Some of it's just a few pounds here and a few pounds there. The one thing, I think eBay reckons most people have got something like between 2 and 4 grand's worth of stuff just lying around their home, if they're not already an active eBay seller, which, to be fair, I am. The one thing I do have is this is an iPhone. This is a knackered, cracked up iPhone 12. It's a few years old, but it still does work. That's worth about 200 quid. Even looking like that, you can't really see that well, but it's smashed up. But the screen, it does still work. You can do things with it. That's an iPhone 10 with, and also a damaged screen. That's probably worth £100, maybe 70 with a damaged screen. So I have got some repair kits I could try and use, but so that's another option, is I could spend some time repairing them and try and make them more valuable and sell them. But that is just, I've got some tools, but it's skillful work, and I'm not not skillful at all. So there's that kind of thing. But yeah, sell stuff. So phones, old laptops, tech generally. Just wipe it. Just make sure you wipe it before you send it off to anyone. Branded clothing. I've got some trainers somewhere down there, which they're a bit better on the inside because I'm heavy, but on the outside they look great. So I'll sell those with an honest description. I'll probably get £5 for them. I've done that in the past with branded, particularly if you got Nike or Adidas or anything like that. It'll sell. There's a big market for those kind of things. So yeah, so get creative, have a look around your house, look for things to sell. If you don't have enough to sell or anything to sell, then there is another option which I'll go into now. Okay, so the fourth and final option that I can think of it's actually a combination of the other options. So if you don't think you have got anything to sell, or certainly enough stuff to sell, and you don't want to go sort of taking out cash on your credit card and that kind of thing, and doing balance transfers, then what you can do, if the timing's right, is you can buy stuff with a different credit card, or even possibly that credit card, if it's not up to its limit and it's past its previous statement date. So is you can go and buy some more stuff that'll come quickly and then sell it again. This is hard to do in a way that doesn't lose money. I have tried it before. I actually tried it with phones, and there are some ways you can make it work with the phones. If you buy a phone cheap enough and then resell it on eBay, there are some ways of making it work. Particularly if you see my last video was about a website called Complete Savings, where basically when you buy stuff you get between 8 and 10% off when you buy things on eBay, and then if you resell them on eBay you can make, you may only pay 5 or 6%, maybe 7 or 8% of a fee if you pick the right category. So cameras, phones, NFTs, which obviously nobody buys now, and I think games consoles. I think they're the big three, where you get a much lower percentage if you're a business seller. So it's a bit of an odd niche. You have to, a bit of an odd set of circumstances, but that is another option. For most people it's not really an option, and I wouldn't recommend it, because I do fit in that. I do hit all those, I tick all those boxes, and I still didn't make any money. I bought some phones, I made some money on some, and then I lost money on others. So I may have to try doing that again this time around. Another problem is, obviously, it just prolongs the issue, so I've still got to either do it all again next month, or at least some of it. But yeah, so that is this sort of credit card churning way. It's not ideal, but it's an option. It's not the best option, and as stated at the start of the video, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm going to go and get selling stuff, and I'm going to do like a part 2 of this video, maybe even several parts. So I might do a few parts of, I want to do a roundup at the end of the month to let you know how I actually did, but I also want to, maybe I'll do some videos in the middle of sort of the sorts of things I'm selling, how I'm selling them, where I'm selling them. I'm mainly going to be selling on eBay probably, but also Facebook. So somewhere at the back here I've got this thing here, which is I've got a sound bar and a subwoofer, which a relative gave to me, which we don't use. We don't, no need for it. So I'll probably sell those, but because they're big and bulky, they're perfect for Facebook. You can sell them on eBay, but it's Facebook tends to be you get more time wasters, but you tend to get faster results. I find people tend to be, I live around the corner, I'm coming now, I've got cash. So yeah, so that's what I'll be doing with those, and I've got lots of collectibles which are perfect for eBay and other places. So yeah, so that's the plan. If you are in lots of debt, seriously get, okay, you've listened to me, I'm really grateful you came and looked at my video, especially for this long, but seriously, get help. There are professionals out there who can help you. I know someone who had a lot of credit card debt, and he got one of those IVA things, and it completely changed his, he went from paying something like £900 a month in debt to paying £100 or £120, something like that. It did come with a lot of problems. It caused him, I think for 5 years he couldn't have an overdraft, he couldn't have a loan, he couldn't have any credit at all. But he was able to turn his life around, and he's happily married with a big house and all that kind of stuff now. So do get professional advice if it's getting too much for you. Don't suffer in silence. And I hope this video helped you, and yeah, so if you did, please leave me a like and consider subscribing. Okay, well, good luck, and tune in for the next video to see how I actually did.